Hello and welcome back to Football Daily, where in honour of Black History Month we are running through 10 black icons that changed football forever. Remember, the most liked comment will be read out on Sunday Vibes, so make sure to leave your thoughts in the comments section. Let's go! 10. Viv Anderson. A no-nonsense defender with excellent ball-playing abilities, Viv Anderson was one of the best English centre-backs of his generation. After being released by Man United as a boy, he spent time working as a printer before being picked up by Brian Clough's Nottingham Forest. He helped the Reds to promotion to the First Division in 1977, where they won the title at the first time of asking, also picking up the League Cup for good measure. In November 1978, he was called up to Ron Greenwood's England squad, where he promptly became the first black footballer to represent the Three Lions, winning the first of 30 England caps. A stalwart of the Forest side that won back-to-back European Cups, defeating Malmo and Hamburg, he went on to represent Arsenal and Man United before winding down his career at Middlesbrough, Sheffield Wednesday and Barnsley. Called up to the Spain 1982 and Mexico 1986 World Cups, Anderson never actually took to the field, but having paved the way for hundreds of other black English players after him, was putting up with years of vile racist abuse, Anderson definitely deserves a spot on our list. 9. Clarence Seedorf. An era-defining footballer that dominated midfields for over 2 decades, winning 4 Champions Leagues with a record 3 different clubs, whilst representing the likes of Ajax, Real Madrid, Inter, Milan and Botafogo, Clarence Seedorf was a player that had it all. At international level, Seedorf took part in 3 Euros in the 1998 World Cup and retired from international duty in 2008 with 87 caps, 10th in the all-time list. But Seedorf's impact on the international stage didn't end in 2008. Born in Suriname, he hasn't forgotten his roots, building the Clarence Seedorf Stadium, while his foundation, the Champions for Children Foundation, supports projects looking to make a difference in the country. In 2009, he became a legacy champion of the Nelson Mandela Foundation, a group of philanthropists that also includes Bill Clinton, who work to ensure Nelson Mandela's great work continues. An outspoken advocate of issues affecting black players, recently condemning the lack of opportunities for black coaches, and calling for yellow cards for players covering their mouths during games in light of the racist abuse suffered by Glenn Kamara against Slavia Prague, Seedorf has made sure his impact off the pitch is as seismic as it was on it. 8. Hope Powell. With exposure to women's football increasing on a yearly basis, with the Women's Super League attracting some of the biggest names in the game and Sky Sports broadcasting games live, after a slow start, life is starting to improve for female footballers in this country. But it's fair to say that the women's game wouldn't be where it is today without Hope Powell. Lewisham-born, Powell made her England debut aged just 16, went on to appear at the 1995 World Cup, score 35 goals in 66 games, and rise to vice-captain of her country. But it was after hanging up her boots that Powell made the most difference. In 1998, the same year she retired, Powell was appointed as England's women's first ever full-time coach. Across her 15 years in charge, she not only led the team to 2 World Cup quarter-finals in 2007 and 2011, but oversaw the entire structure from under-15s to under-23s, helped implement central contracts, and became the first woman to achieve the UEFA Pro licence, the highest coaching qualification available. A true pioneer. 7. John Barnes. Heralded as one of England's most naturally talented players of all time, John Barnes scored a hugely impressive 198 goals from midfield across his career and was capped 78 times by the Three Lions. Born and initially raised in Jamaica before moving to England aged 12, Barnes made his name at Watford before transferring to Liverpool in 1987. His 10 seasons on Merseyside yielded 2 top-flight titles and 2 FA Cups, as well as picking up a PFA Player of the Year after scoring 17 and assisting 18 in 48 games that campaign. Unfortunately for Barnes, he was frequently the victim of shameful racist abuse from opponents and fans. One instance by a section of Everton supporters during the Merseyside derby led to Toffees chairman Philip Carter branding them scum. The highest profile incident though was captured in a photograph with Barnes backheeling a banana that had been thrown from the stands at him during another game against Everton. Sadly, an incident that was all too commonplace. On recent years, Barnes has appeared on BBC Breakfast and Question Time to discuss issues of racism in society and advocated for the introduction of the Rooney Rule, which states that one ethnic minority candidate should be interviewed for any coaching position. 6. Raheem Sterling. When you think about the impact of current footballers standing up against racism, the first name that comes to mind is probably Raheem Sterling. The 26-year-old, who has already amassed over 500 senior appearances for club and country, famously made headlines in 2018 when he called out a newspaper for the differences in how they reported various teammates purchasing houses. This was a response to a culmination of reports in which the Englishman often found himself public enemy number one in the media for a number of reasons, including getting a gun tattoo to commemorate his murdered father, proposing to his girlfriend, buying a house for his mum, and even shopping at Primark. His influence in the ongoing fight against racism has seen him rewarded with an MBE for services to racial equality in sport. But as Sterling knows full well, that doesn't mean the job is done, saying, "I am grateful to be recognised, but my priority is to try and help educate society and myself. If it doesn't start from within, there's no way you can help others." 5. Luther Blissett. Whilst it's often Viv Anderson's name everyone remembers when it comes to black players first turning out for England, very few had as wider influence as Luther Blissett. Only the 5th black player to represent the Three Lions, making his debut in 1982, the striker made history by becoming not only the first black player to score, but also to net a hat-trick, achieving both feats in a 9-0 demolition of Luxembourg. Blissett made his name at Watford, first breaking through as a 19-year-old in 1977, scoring 95 goals in 6 seasons as the Hornets rose from the 4th division to the 1st. And in their debut campaign in the top flight, they finished as runners-up to Liverpool, with Blissett's 27 goals earning him the Golden Boot and a £1 million move to AC Milan. Whilst his spell in Italy wasn't as successful with just 5 goals in his one and only Serie A campaign, his return to England would prove fruitful. With 208 goals in the Football League, one more than Sir Bobby Charlton, Blissett is one of the highest scoring black men in the English game. It's hard to argue he's anything but a legend. 4. Laurie Cunningham. The reality is that we could have picked any of the West Bromwich Albion 3 degrees. Winger Laurie Cunningham would be joined at the West Midlands club by striker Cyril Regis and fullback Brendan Batson during the late 1970s, marking only the second time 3 black players were fielded simultaneously by a top-flight side. Cunningham, the second black player to play for England, would make international news in 1979 when he became the first British player to be signed by Real Madrid. Los Blancos paid £950,000 for his services and he duly impressed, scoring 2 goals in his debut as the club would go on to win the league and cup double. The only Madridista to earn a standing ovation from Barcelona fans at the Camp Nou after a 1980 performance, Cunningham's life would ultimately be cut short at the age of 33 after a car crash in Madrid in 1989. He was named as one of West Brom's greatest ever players and has a statue outside former club Leyton Orient, as well as one with former teammates Regis and Batson, celebrating the impact the trio had on the pitch. 3. Marcus Rashford. Closing in on 100 career goals and already capped 46 times by England at the age of 23, everything Rashford has and will achieve on the pitch will pale into insignificance with his impact off it. Whilst others stayed indoors and binged Netflix at the start of the pandemic, Rashford grabbed the initiative, pairing up with Fairshare to deliver meals in the Manchester area to children no longer receiving school meals. By June, his scheme had provided 4 million meals across the country and persuaded the UK government to extend it over the summer holidays. But the winger didn't stop there. Having initially rejected the Labour-led petition to end child poverty, in November Rashford managed to persuade Parliament to provide almost £400 million worth of funding to support poorer families struggling with food and household bills. Awarded an MBE this summer after raising £20 million to end child poverty, as well as topping the Sunday Times giving list for charitable donations, Rashford has moved from footballer to national icon and deserves all the credit in the world. 2. Pelé. It would be wrong to talk about black excellence on the football pitch and not mention Edson Arantes de Nascimento, commonly known as Pelé. The forward was quite simply the best player of his generation. A World Cup winner at 18 and a 3-time champion by the time he retired, Brazil have only won 2 of the 12 editions since he called it a day. Scorer of 77 goals in 94 games for the Seleção, 8 more than next best Neymar, Pelé's 1,279 career goals is recognised as a Guinness World Record, despite many of them being scored in friendlies. While Pelé never ventured further than Brazil and the US during his club career, representing Santos for 18 years, since his retirement Pelé has made his mark around the globe. A UN ambassador for the ecology and environment since 1992, 20 years later he was awarded an honorary degree from the University of Edinburgh for a significant contribution to humanitarian and environmental causes. Currently going through a period of ill health, we wish Pelé, one of the first black athletes to show that anything was possible, a speedy recovery. 1. Arthur Wharton. Unlike many of the names on this list, Arthur Wharton is not a household name. Born in Jamestown in the former British colony Gold Coast, now modern-day Ghana, Wharton moved to England in 1882 with dreams of becoming a missionary. Ultimately though, his sporting excellence took him towards football, and it wasn't long before he was signed by Darlington, before moving to Preston North End and becoming part of the first invincible side England has ever seen, winning 18 of their 22 matches across the 1888-89 campaign. The following year he moved to Rotherham and turned professional, becoming the first black professional footballer in history. Although a call-up to the national team never materialised, with Viv Anderson not appearing for the Three Lions for nearly 100 years, Wharton was a vitally important pioneer in starting the process of breaking down racial barriers in football. Inducted into English football's Hall of Fame in 2003, his immense contribution is recognised in a statue outside of St George's Park. So guys, that was our rundown of 10 black icons that changed football forever. For all their work in the game, making such a difference over many years, we salute them. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please remember to like it and subscribe to Football Daily, and I'll catch you next time.